Welcome to The Back Cover, the podcast that explores the classic soul music of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm Karen Williams. Join me and my co-host Steve Williams, no we're not related, as we flip over the album covers and share stories of the movers and shakers that created, wrote, and produced those iconic sounds. We'll educate and entertain you, all while keeping the music alive. The Back Cover is recorded from excerpts of our daily radio show, recorded at WLTH AM in Gary, Indiana. Welcome to episode number 13. Today we talk about how do you really compare singers. We start out talking about the comparison between David Ruffin and Marvin Gaye. And then we get into a little deeper discussion of other soul singers that have been compared to each other. Finally, we end up talking about music documentaries. And can you believe we do an in-depth discussion of Elton John? So stay tuned and listen to this week's episode number 13.
It makes me just laugh every time I hear him sing, because just to think, people was saying Marvin Gaye sang better than
You know
David
what?
Ruffin.
There was a poll on one of the social sites, and they were like, who sound better? Well, no. Was it him and Marvin? It was somebody and Marvin.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're two totally different types of singers.
Marvin was not a screamer.
No.
Couldn't squall.
No.
He was just
mellow. And he was great.
Yeah.
You know, now you could put him against Eddie Kendrick.
Marvin?
Mm-hmm.
No comparison.
They were both, I know Eddie was a tenor, but they both had similar styles.
True.
So that could work. You had to put somebody like him against Johnny Taylor. You know what I'm saying? Because
Marvin against Johnny Taylor?
No. I'm saying David against a Johnny Taylor.
Oh, yeah.
Or Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys.
Yeah, exactly. You are right. You are correct, ma'am.
I'm always correct.
Not really.
But I would not put Marvin against, no.
Mm-mm.
Two different
Totally different people.
I mean, that's like people who do like, we're going to put the Isleys against Earth, Wind, and Fire. No comparison. Right. Totally different.
Not at all.
And Stevie, I don't know who you put Stevie against. He's so unique.
No one.
Yeah.
There are some artists like that you would not put them against someone else because of the way.
Why you didn't throw in Otis Clay?
There you go.
Okay. Otis Clay, yeah. I am not familiar with Otis Clay like that because he's more bluesy to me.
But he came from gospel.
Yeah, so David did too.
Yeah, but Karen,
most of them came from gospel.
You got to throw Otis in no matter what you do.
But see, Otis Clay said a Johnny Taylor and a Wilson Pickett because they were more popular when I was growing up. And they I knew them.
But what about the boy Wonder?
Tyrone Davis?
Yes.
What's you smoking? But Johnny was never ever a fill-in. He was either the star of the show or no show. That's the way it was. He didn't close. He just didn't close. He was the star of the show. And he made that known after Otis Redding died. He wasn't going to be... No, he just wasn't. That's the reason why he wasn't at Watt Stacks. He refused to come behind somebody. It was him and him alone. Hey, wait a minute. Isaac Hayes is writing all these hits for you. Dave Frater and all those writing. Yeah, they writing hits, but I'm selling records.
Mm-hmm.
So ends the story. You have told Cleve this many times. I don't know. Well, you know, that's something about that just for me and getting in the skin.
Yeah. You have said this 100 times.
100,000 times.
And he continues to call and pick at the sword.
And Otis Clay, although Otis was good, he's one of those brothers that came out of gospel and went over into what they call soul then, because soul was more of a growly type of thing. It was a feeling. Yes, he could do that. But he wasn't no crooner by no means.
But I don't remember Otis, because by the time I was, up listening to music,
Right.
it was with the people who were making hits.
R&B people were Johnny Taylor, Tyrone Davis,
right,
Bobby Womack,
all of those guys.
They were R&B of the day.
Right.
Right.
So
And
that's why I said David Ruffin would fit into that category.
he would probably run that category.
I knew those guys.
They were
their music.
Yeah. And there we go.
That's all I'm saying. Otis Clay may have been, but I don't really know.
Otis was good. He was really good. Yeah.
Was he before them?
He was right there along with them. In other words, what happened, Otis was on High Records along with Willie Clayton, Seal Johnson.
And see, those guys I did not know.
Right. And the biggest artist that High Records had was Al Green.
Oh,
and High Records was distributed by Motown. So you heard them, but in certain markets.
Okay.
VON in Chicago played everybody because that was the test market. It was more blacks in
the South
Chicago
side, right,
than mostly anywhere else.
Right.
So most of the Motown
wait a minute,
stuff
let me say this, in a concentrated
area. Right. So there were songs and artists that hit big in Chicago and yet didn't hit big anywhere else.
Right.
We talk about this all the time.
Yes.
Modern day.
Yes.
R. Kelly, Step in the Name of Love, the song.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do nothing down south. Why?
Because everybody up here steps.
Thank you. And so ended the story. Pose the question again, my love.
Okay. Theo Peoples.
Theo Peoples. I follow you.
Okay. He used to sing with the Temptation. He got fired. Okay. Then he went over with the Four Tops. When the Four Tops did their 50th anniversary, that was the last thing I think Levi was even in the wheelchair, and it was a big to-do. Okay. Now, Theo is no longer with them. Is Theo still singing, or I know that he's no longer with the Four Tops.
Okay.
You happen to know.
Let me straighten out some stuff from the beginning.
Okay.
Theo, one, is a PK himself.
Preacher's kid.
Yep. Now, Theo was discovered by Otis at a hotel where he was concierge. Theo was recruited to be a Temptation, and after Richard Street retired. Now, Theo took Richard Street's place in the Temptations. While he was in the Temptations, he wrote about 8 songs. They had an album called Phoenix Rising, which turned out to be a platinum album with Stay, Some Enchanted Evening, was on the Mellow for Lovers Only. He was there for 2 albums, and so on and so forth. Now, Theo didn't get fired. Theo wanted to leave because he had a better shot with the Tops as being lead singer. If you notice, throughout the years of the Four Tops, there was only one lead singer. That was Levi. All the other 3 guys harmonized. They could lead, but they didn't want to, because now you got Levi with a signature sound. Whenever you would hear a Four Top song, you would hear that signature 4-part harmony. So when Levi got sick and had that stroke, Theo was hired. Otis gave his blessings and said, go. So now we look at the Four Tops. There's only one original member still left, and that would be Duke.
Duke, right.
All right. Duke owns the group, owns the name, owns everything that consists of Four Tops. Theo sang with the Tops for about 6, maybe 7 years. They had a miscommunication, you would say. And Theo simply exited the group. He did not leave in anger. He just left the group. Now, as of right now, this is funny. All these reviews that are going on. Theo was a member of Dennis Edwards' review.
Oh.
Theo was, and then when Dennis died, he became a member of his own review. Theo has a group called Theo Peoples Review, former Temptation.
Thank you so much. Because she had said it was on the internet that he got fired for drugs.
No.
Well, now he can go right on that internet and sue somebody. But I told her, I said, I haven't seen him in years. So I wondered what had happened. That's all. But
don't believe everything you hear on the internet, baby. That's for number one.
That's why I called the boss to find out.
The boss.
I would love to pick your brain sometimes about the music.
Don't pick
and
it too much.
Sharon, and not ignoring you.
Hey, no, I'm saying don't pick it too much. It won't be anything left. It's not very much up there. Music documentaries.
On who?
On anybody. They say it's taken off, booming.
It really is. It is.
Big time.
It is. It is. And I love them.
Music executives say demand has skyrocketed for feature films and documentaries based on artists' lives. Hence, why they're doing Chuck Berry. They're doing Chuck Berry. They just finished doing Elton John. Well, they're doing musicals.
I saw Elton John's last night.
Was it good?
It was good.
Did you learn a lot about
I didn't know
Elton?
he had such a problem with being shy.
He's an introvert. Well, he was an introvert.
He
probably still is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, he had issues with his dad.
Dad hated him.
Hated him. Because he was gay. And he knew that.
But the boy could say, the man, really, can say anything.
He's an excellent writer.
Him and his partner.
Yeah.
Not that partner, but the other partner.
The writing partner.
The writing partner.
They've been partners for years.
Years.
Writing partners for years.
Made buku money.
Buku.
So he went through this phase where all the glasses and the feather boas and everything was just a show for the stage.
Right, and he just hiding behind it.
And then he found the needle.
Yeah. Because he was depressed because
that's enough.
Family.
Yeah.
And he was using those costumes
as a shield.
It was.
But that's what they call it, show business.
Yeah, and that's what he was doing. He was using it as a shield.
Yeah.
And that would help him get on stage.
Because he was stage frightened.
Right. And so when he had those costumes on, it was almost like he had on an armor.
I told you this once before. Let's see if you remember. One superstar that was stage frightened to death.
Marvin Gaye.
And what did he do? He sang with his eyes closed.
Right, sang with his eyes closed. And Tammy Terrell was the one who was pulling him along.
Pushing.
And there's a video of them, they were singing, Ain't No Mountain High Enough? Where they were like on a dock or somewhere. And you could tell she's poking at him and making him smile and making him sing and making him smile. And
you notice he kept his head up.
Right.
He never looked at her.
Right.
He just kept. Now I'm gonna tell you somebody else in the Temptations that was stage frightened, but he didn't get over it. He got past it, so to speak.
And who was that?
Your boy.
Oh, Eddie Kendrick.
Yep.
Really?
He had really bad dental problems. A couple of chipped toothes.
Toofuses.
So he used to sing with his mouth.
On the mic so people couldn't see his teeth. Why didn't he get them fixed?
He was broke. Until they started making money.
Okay.
And, but he used to sing. He never moved. When he was singing lead, he never moved. He just stood there with his head and blowed.
And everybody else was moving around.
Everybody was moving, doing that thing. But when it was his time to go back to the group, he knew the steps. That's why Charlie Atkins placed him the way he did. He put Otis and Eddie in the back. They were the two least dancers. Paul, Melvin were the two best dancers. David
Was the showman.
Was the showman.
He couldn't dance, but he could perform.
He could perform. He could dance, but he performed enough to where you would forget about him never missed a step, either one of them.
Uh-huh.
But the man was comical.
Yeah.
Because he put, I wish I had a live album. They did Beauty's Only Skin Deep, and at the end he had this part, Beauty's Only Skin Deep, and the group would say, but ugly is to the bone, and people would fall out. Elton
John
came up with some fabulous. He took it from another guy that was stage fright, but fabulous. Sachet.
Oh, Liberace.
Touche.
Again, somebody who hid behind the facade.
But he had some real jewelry.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
Let me see.
They still haven't finished Marvin Gaye if they ever started.
Oh, everybody's been waiting for the Marvin Gaye story.
And that's what, 5-6 years now?
They've been saying it's going to happen. Yeah. And nothing, I haven't heard anything else. So, procuring the rights for a swath of artist songs can range from 10,000 to 10 million, depending on how much music the film is using and whether the original recordings will be used or the songs will be covered by a new artist. The deals usually entail an upfront licensing fee and aren't dependent on how the film performs. So, Mr. Monaco, who is the guy who's telling us this story, said the publisher has been in talks for 8 deals, 3 of which have closed so far this year. He didn't say who they were, compared with 1 to 2 deals 5 years ago. The spate of music-oriented movies comes as the music industry is looking to maximize the value of older tunes.
But now, check that.
Listen to what he said. Older tunes
now,
in the streaming era.
Here we go.
Really, they're doing, whatever genre it is, they're usually older musicians, whether it's rock or whatever.
I want to see some gospel documentaries, though. I'd like to see Mahalia Jackson. I'd like to see, well, they won't show us. They need to. Well, when is the movie where Aretha's coming out?
They said it's going to come out in 2020. I mean, it's been out, but they're thinking about bringing it to the small screen in 2020.
Aretha?
Yeah, the one that was in the theater.
The documentary?
Yes.
I want to see the Jennifer Hudson thing.
Oh, that one. Oh, I don't know, because I told you they got some issues with her estate now.
Oh, yeah.
So that might impact, because they've got to determine who's going to get the son, the niece. It's
but
just some.
Who would have a great documentary outside of those people? Who would you think would be a documentary everybody would want to see?
There's not a big market for gospel.
But yeah, because church folk don't want to pay no money.
Right, they're the cheapest people I know. But now if they do like Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry always sells his movies out when it's in theaters because he makes them buy tickets up front. So whoever is the marketing person for a gospel thing will have to do the same thing Tyler Perry has done.
I'd like to see
selling the tickets through the church.
I'd like to see some documentaries on gospel groups. They had one on YouTube. Somebody did the birth of gospel. Mm-hmm. From the Jubilee singers to the quartets and to the choirs. But I just like to see that because you know what? If you look closely, you can see a lot of R&B singers. Mm-hmm. Who started in the church, in those groups. Right, right, right. Yeah. So, I don't know. I can't think of, there are just so many people out there who could have a documentary on it. You might not know Robert Blair and the Fantastic Violinaires, but you'll know Wilson Pickett. Right. You might not know the Falcons, but you'll know Eddie Floyd and Wilson Pickett. Mm-hmm. Or the Ohio Untouchables. And who is that? The Ohio Players. Oh. They were gospel before? They played on that I Found the Love. Okay. You see? You might not know the Gospel Flames, but you know James Brown. Come on in the building, baby. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
That's the end of this week's podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.